So welcome to our 9 a.m. It's neck, shoulders, twists and hips this morning. It's sort of the theme for the class. And as per usual, we'll make our way into Shavasana to begin, or whatever restorative pose we'd like to take. So whether it's reclined butterfly, Supta Baddha Konasana, child's pose if that's more comfortable. Otherwise taking our Shavasana and just taking this moment, regardless of our pose of choice, to just rest into the body, resting into the mat, and just taking these first few moments to come into our breath. Noticing the quality of our breath at the beginning of our practice. We've been going around getting set up like I have. If we've been rolling out mats, moving around, and just coming back to a breath that can settle into the stillness of the body now. How this breath is when we're at complete rest. We talk about our yogic breath, our rhythmic breath. We take each inhale deep down into the belly, feeling it spread up into the chest. As we exhale, releasing from the chest, down and out through the belly. It's nice to give the breath this little bit of focus at the beginning of our practice when we are completely still. Bringing it to the forefront of our awareness. As we notice the volume of air that we take in and out. It's not just about taking deep breaths, but also the quality of rhythm between our inhales and exhales. Between one breath to the next. And just seeing if we can smooth out any irregularities. Taking even, steady breaths. It doesn't matter what that ratio looks like, it doesn't matter how deep it is. Just see if we can make it nice and even. So we start to check in with the physical body. Noticing those muscles, tissues, whatever tightness we've got going on, any soreness, maybe digestion, any injuries we may have. Whatever needs to be looked after this morning. It's our practice, our yoga. We're in the comfort of our own homes. We can modify whatever we need to, whatever we like to. We can adjust. We make it our own, but we do it by listening into the body. With each posture that we hold or move through, we cultivate this sense of listening, this sense of feeling into what feels good for the body. As we add a little wriggle to our fingers and toes. And whatever position we're in, making our way to lay on our backs. If we're already in our Shavasana, we'll draw these knees in towards the chest. Squeezing in tight, adding our little sway side to side. And then coming back to center, taking our happy baby, opening those soles of the feet towards the ceiling, drawing those knees towards the mat below the armpits. And we can either stay here stationary if we're enjoying just deepening into our happy baby here, or we can start to rock and roll, freestyle any movement that we'd like. If we'd like to take those circles, it's a good opportunity to massage out those back muscles through the middle and upper back. Seeing if we can keep those shoulders and shoulder blades relaxed. So if we're tensing up, trying to move on our mat, seeing if we can soften down a little bit, getting this gentle opening through the hips. And then squeezing back into our ball. We'll lower this left foot to the mat, taking our right foot over the left thigh, coming into our thread the needle, our right arm through, interlace the fingers, drawing this left leg in towards the chest. So we're strengthening through the biceps. We're using those arms to draw this left leg in, but noticing if the tension spreads up to the face. If, as we draw that left leg in, start to grimace or tense up, anything activating through those facial muscles, seeing if we can release it out. Check in with the breath. The other thing that tends to happen when we strengthen or when we're tensing any of the muscles is that breath starts to shorten. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. Releasing this side. Swapping over, we'll place that right foot to the floor, this left leg coming across. Left arm threading through, interlace the fingers, drawing this right leg in towards the chest this time. The head, the neck, and the shoulders at rest. And releasing this side. Drawing these knees to chest, tucking into our ball, rock and rolling forwards and backwards, or using those hands for support. We'll make our way up. Coming seated, cross-legged, or legs out in front, whatever's easiest, whatever's comfy for the hips. Sitting up nice and tall, we'll inhale this left arm up and over, coming into our side neck stretch. So starting with the neck this morning. It's not a pull. We're not trying to reach or draw this head all the way over. We're just getting a gentle lengthening down this right hand side. We can relax down through that right side of the body. Use that breath in to fill up the belly as we sit a little taller as it draws up into the chest. So as that breath spreads up, we feel this lengthening through the torso. As that breath releases out, feeling through the back of the body, just relaxing all the way down there. Let's release this side so that we can turn our gaze. We're looking past the armpit towards the floor, taking this hand to the base of the skull, the back of the head, getting this lengthening down the back, feeling this right shoulder blade in particular deepening down, getting this lengthening through this upper trap. Our tension magnets, our stress magnets. If we spend a lot of time at a keyboard, it's one that tends to tighten up a lot. And let's release out this side. Inhale, our right arm up and over, taking our side neck if those shoulders have crept up. And just releasing them down the back. Still nice and long through the sides of the body. Releasing this side, turning that gaze, tucking of the chin. That left side of the body relaxing. Use an exhale to just release anything, any tension we're storing or holding onto down that left shoulder, shoulder blade. Releasing this side. Coming down to the shoulders, we'd inhale this left arm up and over. We've got our option, we'll bring it over towards this opposite shoulder. Our right hand can either come to the elbow, taking that tricep stretch, stretching out through the shoulder that way, or we can take this right hand, thumb pointing down, interlacing the fingers, or if it's close but can't quite reach, taking hold of the shirt, maybe drawing those hands a little closer towards each other. As we do, we're continuing to sit tall, so keep this open chest. If we're trying to reach these hands, but we're folding forwards to get that availability, just release those hands a little further apart, take hold of the shirt, sit tall, or take that tricep option. And then releasing out this side, we'll draw this left arm across the body, using our right arm to draw it in towards the chest, lengthening out through those fingertips, feeling this opening along that front left side this time. And releasing this side out. Inhale, right arm up and over, this left hand to either elbow, or taking that interlace, so that thumb facing down, interlacing fingers. This is my tighter side. So I usually find your dominant arm, when your dominant arm is under, it seems to be the tight one for most people. So either taking hold of fingertips, you can do shirt, even if you've got a towel or anything like that. So as we breathe in, we're aware that we're breathing in, and aware that we're breathing out. Releasing out this side, taking this right hand over, so nice and long through the arm, using this left arm, drawing that forearm in, taking that stretch across that front right shoulder. Releasing out. Let's walk these hands forwards, coming into our tabletop position, so hands at the front of our mats, bringing those knees underneath the hips. Plenty of space between the fingers as we ground through the palms of the hands. Let's inhale, tucking our chin towards the chest. As we exhale, we're going to open the chest between the arms. So it's inhale as we tuck this tailbone under. Exhale, opening up. Flowing with the breath. Coming down into the vertebra Those muscles that run all the way down the spine. Check in where we're tight. If we've been sitting down in quarantine, if we've been watching movies, playing games, or just slumping over couches or staying in bed maybe, check in where it is, whether it's compression in the lower back, a hunch in the upper back. So you can place that deliberate attention into these spaces to open them up a little further. Taking one more round. And returning to tabletop. Our neutral spine will tuck our toes under, coming into our downward facing dog. So I mentioned our modifications. It's our own practice, all of our practices. Our yoga, mine is to lower my knees down to the mat. So we're holding our down dog if that's comfortable. Always got our option to follow my modifications as well. So this one, if you haven't seen my classes, I just got to keep an eye on my blood pressure. So I keep my head closer to my heart. For now down dog, we can pedal out. We can move through the hips, keeping strong through those arms, long through the arms. Spread those fingers wide, pressed firm through the palms. And from whichever option we've taken, let's walk these feet to the front of our mats, coming into our ragdoll. So grounding through the soles of the feet, little bend in the knees, folding that tummy towards the thighs, letting that head hang. I'll bring mine up a little bit. We can add our sway left and right. How are those hamstrings feeling? Even around the side muscles of the hips or the lower back if we're adding this little sway. Returning back to center, release the fingertips to the floor. Let's inhale our half lift. Lengthening through the spine, keeping the shoulders drawn back. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding forwards. One more time, inhale. Exhale, fold. Bending through the knees a little further, let's slowly uncurl this morning up to our standing position. So we're feeling those vertebrae stack. Head is last to come up, spreading our fingertips nice and wide, taking our Tadasana, check in. So pick up those toes first, spread them wide, place them back down to the mat, nice and grounded. We'll lift up through the crown of the head. Add a little shrug to the shoulders so we can feel the shoulder blades lower down the back of the body a little bit more. Let's inhale, hands rise. As we exhale, we're folding forwards. We can add a little bend to the knees if that's more comfortable. As we inhale, taking our half lift. Exhale, fold. This time we'll bend those knees, we'll press up, and one big inhale, we'll lift ourselves tall, lengthening fingertips. On our exhale, opening into our back bend. So engaging through the glutes, the core. Inhale, rise a little taller. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding forwards. Bend the knees. Press through those feet as we inhale, root to rise, lengthening up the sides of the body. Exhale, heart opening. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dive it over. Inhale, half lift. Hands to mat, coming back to our high plank. Check in here, toes or knees. Hugging that belly button in towards the spine. Check in with the breath. So as we're taking this hold, engaging the core, making sure we're not shortening those inhales and exhales. Take a deep inhale at the top. Strong and steady as we exhale, lowering down to Chaturanga. Inhale to our Cobra or upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward dog. Little pedal out or drawing both heels down towards the mat. And gazing forwards, bend the knees, step or hop feet to front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse our dive, inhale high. Exhale, open. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Taking our half lift. Hands to mat, stepping or hopping back to high plank this time. Take that breath in. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, open. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's inhale this left heel to the sky. As we exhale, stepping it through between the hands, coming into our crescent lunge. So we're on the ball of that back foot, stabilizing, reaching tall. And tuck my mic in. I think that's going to be an ongoing problem for me this morning. So checking that that left knee is tracking over that left heel. Let's see if we can lower a little deeper into the lunge without compressing into that lower back. So keep those front tips of hips drawn up. Exhale as we lower, keeping strong through those legs. Take a breath in. On our exhale, we're going to core engage, fold forwards, reaching the fingertips behind the body towards the back of our mat. As we inhale, open the chest tall as we lengthen through the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. One more time, exhale. As we inhale, lifting up. Either holding here, or we can take these hands, interlacing the fingers behind the hips, opening up into our back bend a little. Set that gaze on one still point. Might be a little bit harder to balance with our bind. Feeling those shoulders relax. Releasing our bind, inhale, hands rise. As we exhale, frame the front foot. Still in this lunge position, we're going to open the left fingertips up towards the sky. Coming into our revolve twist, we've got our option of lowering that right knee to the mat if that's more comfy for support. Check in with that neck. If it's a strain, to look up towards that thumb tip, maybe a neutral position to the side, or maybe even towards the floor. Another big belly breath. Exhale, frame the front foot, step it back, high plank. As many steps as you need to get there, moving through our flow. Take that exhale to lower. Inhale, opening through the heart, our back bend, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale that right heel to sky. Exhale, bend the knee, step the foot. All right, finding our crescent lunge. When we're ready, rising tall. Steadying ourselves, set that gaze. If that mind is wandering off, check back in with the breath. With that core working, take that breath in. Exhale. We're reaching the fingertips behind as we fold forwards. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, this is our flow. Seeing if we can keep that gaze in one straight line. This time as we reach tall, releasing the hands to the side, so optional, we can interlace these fingers behind the back, opening a little further through the heart. Strong through the legs, maybe lowering a little further into our lunge, getting that opening through that left hip flexor. Releasing the hands, inhale, hands rise. Exhale, frame the foot, coming into our twist. So option to stay in this high lunge, reaching those right fingertips to sky, or lowering that mat to floor for that extra little bit of support. Check in with the neck. Where's that gaze feel most comfortable? And in these twists, drawing that breath all the way deep to belly. One more inhale here. Exhale, frame the foot. Stepping back, taking our flow in our own time. It's time, once we've made our way back to our downward dog, lowering these knees towards the mat, taking our child's pose. So these hips resting towards the heels, that head at rest. Arms can be lengthened out in front or down by the sides. Knees together or apart. As we inhale, coming back to tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling that left heel to sky, stepping through for our crescent lunge. Let's rise these fingertips tall. And then option to come into our twist, hands to heart center, this right elbow towards or over that left thigh. So taking our twist here. Optional to expand that hand span, taking those right fingertips towards the mat, left fingertips reaching towards the ceiling. Or if we're lucky enough to be practicing outside, maybe the sky. So we're lengthening out that right heel, feeling that length all the way from that right heel through the crown of the head, so we're nice and long through the spine. We're not forcing ourselves into this twist. Seeing if we can be a little further at ease here. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, torso to rise. Exhale, frame that front foot, step it back, high plank. Take that breath in, core is working as we lower down. Feel those elbows graze the side of the body. Inhale, opening. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, we'll take that right heel to the sky. Exhale, step it through, crescent lunge. Getting our stability. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. Option to take this twist. Getting that length, so crown of the head out to the front. That left heel this time, lengthening back. Option to expand these arms. One more inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, rising tall. Exhale, frame the front foot, step it back. Take that breath in. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to our back bend, keep those shoulders relaxed. Exhale, downward facing dog. A little pedal out here maybe. And then inhaling this left heel to sky. Exhale, stepping it through, coming into our low lunge. We're going to release this right knee to the mat. So framing this front foot, or we can reach these hands or rest these hands on our front thigh if we're coming into our lunge option here. So just feeling these hips lower. Just mindful that left knee is over that left heel. So we've got that tracking straight ahead. If we'd like to come into our back bend a little further once again, we can take that interlace of the fingers, taking that opening through the heart. and then releasing the hands to frame this front foot, lengthening through this left leg. So coming into our hamstring fold, this left leg drawing back behind. Our fold comes from the hips. We're not worried about head or chest. We're feeling this lengthening down this under left side of our left leg, or underside of our left leg, our hamstrings. If we're getting that tingle, that neural stretch, if we're really tight here, bend that knee. It'll allow us to fold that further from the hip, and you feel it more in the belly of the muscle rather than that neurological, that neuro tingling. Bending this front knee. We're going to come back into our lunge. We're going to take a lizard lunge, so scooting this left foot out, placing both hands on the inside of the foot. Now, we've got our option. We can deepen down here, that upper body on the inside of that left leg. If we'd like to come into the hip flexors, we can reach this left hand behind, or coming deeper into the hip flexor, I should say. These are all hip flexor options. We're drawing that heel in towards the hip. So we're taking that thumbs up position. Now option, we can either hold here, or if we're taking hold of that foot, on our exhale, pressing that hand and foot towards each other. As we inhale, softening out. So it's not going anywhere, we're just exhale, we're engaging through the muscle. Inhale, soften and release, and just notice what's happening in the hips, whether we get a little bit more to work with, a little bit more range, or maybe just a little bit more softness in the sensation of the stretch. And then releasing that right foot back to the mat, scooting this left foot back to center. We're coming back into a hamstring fold. We can either hold here if we're comfortable, or we can start to take either that left heel forwards or the right knee back behind, coming into our own version of the splits this morning. So check in with those hips. If it doesn't feel good, stay in that hamstring fold position. Otherwise, we can create this extra space. If you've got blocks, props, pillows, blankets folded up underneath, you can use them for support under the hands or underneath that right thigh. Whatever's comfy here. Let's see if we can keep those hips as square as we can. So we're drawing that left side hip towards the back of the mat. Sort of the ultimate hip open of the splits. Remembering at any time we can come in and out of this pose, any pose. Even if it feels good when we move into something, if it's no longer serving us, ease our way back out. Or it might just mean modifying. It may just mean taking a little movement or adjusting that space between the legs. Maybe bringing it in a little bit if that's easier. We're just here to give the body what it needs. Okay, if we've taken our split, so Hanumanasana, we can start to draw that space in a little closer. So easing our way out, we can walk our hands to the right if that's comfortable, bringing that left leg around. We'll take our child's pose between our other side, give these hips a rest, ease on down, come back into this breath. Let's take 3 deep breaths in here. 3 long exhales out. And then making our way into our downward facing dog. If you'd like to take a flow on our way, you can, maybe moving through our vinyasa. Otherwise, if you're coming straight into down dog, a few extra breaths there. Either way, we're meeting back this down dog position, or our alternatives, our modifications. We'll inhale that right heel to sky. Exhale, step it through. Lowering this left knee down to the mat for support. So our low lunge. Our options to either be framed here, this front foot, or we can rest the hands to the thigh. So sinking through these hips. We're not dumping, we're just deepening. The difference is we're feeling that compression in the lower back. If we're just letting our body weight dump into the hips or the legs, we're still strong, focused through the legs, tall through the crown of the head. We're just aiming to get this opening through the hips. If we'd like to, we can interlace these fingers behind, opening up that little bit further through the heart. This nice gentle back bend at the same time. Releasing our bind if we've taken it, framing this front foot, lengthening through that right leg, our hamstring folds, that right side hip drawing behind. Let's inhale, lengthen through the torso. Exhale, folding at the hips. Take as much bend in that right knee as we'd like or need. Noticing maybe we're tighter from one side to the other. This one's definitely my tighter side. And then bending through this right knee, coming back into our lunge position. We'll scoot this right foot out to the side, placing both hands on the inside of that right foot. Option, we can lower ourselves down. So deepening through the torso, getting that opening across the hips that way, through that inner right thigh, or taking hold, reaching that right hand behind, our hitchhiker's grip on that back foot, and drawing that heel in towards the hip. Remember, we can either hold here, or if we've taken that foot on our exhale, press or resist the hand and foot in towards each other. Inhale, relax out. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. Notice what that does through that left hip flexor. And let's release our hold, or pressing our way back up with the hands. We'll scoot this right foot back to center. So we're coming into our splits, our monkey pose. So drawing that right hip back, holding this position in our fold, or we can start to take that right foot forward, or left knee further behind. Remember, if we've got access to anything at home that we can use for support, make use of it, get ourselves comfortably uncomfortable here. We're finding our own little sweet spot, that Goldilocks spot, which I mention is that uncomfortably comfortable. I want to reach that point where we can breathe through discomfort, but we never want to push ourselves through pain. So if we're really exerting an effort to hold somewhere or to reach a certain place in the pose, ease out. You'll be able to know immediately by checking in with that breath. If it's shortening, if it feels tense, we're trying too hard. I know because when I first started wanting to do the splits, I pulled a hamstring. When I first started yoga, I thought, oh yeah, wouldn't that be cool, do the splits. And now, fortunately, it's about looking after myself. When we're ready, we'll make our way out. So coming back to that child's pose, take our time. Option to walk those hands out. Use them for support as we bring these big toes back to touch. Ease our way down. And notice that lingering sensation. These hips, hip flexors. Just feel it dissolve all the way out. Exhales if we're deepening a little further into our mat here. On our inhale, let's take our tabletop. Actually, we'll tuck our toes under. We'll come into either downward dog or option if we'd like to take that flow. We're going to move through our vinyasa. Personal practice, make it your own. Coming back to meet in our down dog. This time we'll walk these hands a little closer towards each other. Gaze forwards, bend the knees. Step or hop the feet to the front of our mat outside the hands. So coming into our yogi squat. If we can ground the heels, ground the heels. If not, just lowering them down towards the mat. Use these elbows to open out through the thighs. Pressing these palms firm together. If we'd like to deepen a little further, we can press the fingertips towards each other, getting that further opening. If we'd like to take our crow this morning, we can place our hands to the mat, spread fingers, lift up through the sit bones to place the knees at the back of the upper arms. And we might just like to play with transferring that body weight into the arms. If that's where we are with our strength and stability, maybe that's challenging enough. If we'd like to, we can alternate those feet off the mat or bringing both toes together, keeping that gaze out on the floor in front. So anywhere, any option, in or out, any time between our yogi squat or our crow. Have a play. If we're at home, maybe if crow is not something that's part of our regular practice, but we're trying it out, just stockpile pillows and blankets in front of you for support. Might be a comfortable landing to the front. Whichever option we've taken. We'll make our way back down to our yogi squat, or holding here if we're still here. Placing one or both hands behind us. Come to sit back down on the mat. Let's take the soles of our feet out in front. Actually, we'll do a hamstring stretch first. Let's shift these hips back, drawing our toes in towards the chest. We'll inhale, hands rise. As we exhale, folding forwards. And getting that hinging at the hips again if we need to bend those knees to target that belly of the muscle, taking that extra bend. releasing those hands. Coming back to sit tall, we're going to take our right leg over the left. So we're coming into our twist, rising up through this left arm, taking that elbow across the thigh, lifting tall through the torso, and bringing that gaze over the back shoulder. Use those in-breaths to sit tall. One more inhale here. Exhale back through center. Lengthening our right leg out nice and long. That left foot coming over for our twist. Our inhale, right arm up. Take that elbow over. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. One deep belly breath in. And now exhale back through middle. Okay, this time we'll place those soles of the feet to the floor. Our Navasana, our boat pose. So setting ourselves up, we can ground through those feet. We'll lengthen through the fingertips as we open through the chest. Option then to elevate those feet off the mat. Core work, draw that belly button in. Open up through the chest, so widening through the collarbones, feeling those shoulders relax down. Take our breath in here. Keeping that core working all the way down. We're lowering ourselves. Remember, we can use hands for support. All the way, relaxing down. That head comes to rest on the mat. Tuck those knees into chest. Add our little sway side to side here. Coming back through center, lengthen our left leg nice and long. This right knee coming across the body for our twist. I'm going to edge down my mat a little bit here. So taking this twist, this right arm can lengthen out, gazing over those fingertips. If you'd like to get a little further into the hamstrings, maybe lengthening this right leg out. We can either rest that hand to the thigh, the calf if it's available, maybe taking hold of that right foot as we lengthen long. But we're still keeping this twist. We're keeping that right shoulder blade grounded to the mat. And releasing this side. Making our way back through center. Tucking those knees into chest. Squeeze in tight, so feel that lengthening down the lower back first. Then take that right leg long. Left knee across the body. Into that twist. Be comfortable here. We'd like to take that lengthening of our left hamstring. Option again. So that we can either take hold of the foot, we can take hold of the thigh. Need to rearrange here. I've got my phone under my right hip, so hopefully your twist is a little bit more comfortable than mine. Turning our way back to center. Let's draw these knees in, tuck them in tight. A little left and right again, or any freestyling, anything that we'd like to move through with these hips here we can. And then we can come into our Supta Baddha Konasana, our reclined band angle, or anything else. This will be our final pose before our Shavasana. So if there's anything else that you'd like to move through, check in with the body, maybe noticing anywhere that we still feeling tight, any postures that we know benefit us. A really good way to start this day. It's our practice, it's our personal yoga. If we're taking our reclined bound angle, those knees opening to sides, resting those hands however's comfortable. Any commentary going on, see if we can just drop that out of the mind. Take our awareness into what's happening right now. Pick any one of the 5 senses and see if we can hone in on that information that we're getting from it. What's happening in this moment? When we're ready, making our way into our final Shavasana. Coming out of that Supta Baddha Konasana, we'll draw those knees together, lengthening those legs out from whatever position we're in, making our way down, laying on our back, lengthening arms, legs, spreading fingers and toes. As we get ourselves as comfortable as we can here. At ease as much as we can here, both in breath and body. Resting the eyelids closed. And just taking these last few moments, last few minutes to ourselves. Starting to bring that awareness back into the breath. Feeling back into that natural rhythm between inhales and exhales. That rhythm that the body comes to without our need to control or interfere. And just observing it. As we wriggle through fingers and toes. We'll inhale, arms up overhead, lengthening out, taking that full body stretch, and then a roll over to one side. Gently press our way up to seated. If we've got cushions or pillows, bolsters, blocks we'd like to sit on, we can. Coming up, sitting tall, take this moment to lengthen up through the vertebra with a breath in, taking our hands to heart center. Our check-in post-practice. I'm just grateful for the time that we've been taking out of our day to come to our mats. If we're in our quarantine, lockdown or isolation, I'm just grateful whether live or on replay, for taking this time out of our day to just look after ourselves. Setting the intention to just take this mindset off of our mats and through the rest of our week. As we bow our heads to our hands, we honour ourselves and each other with Namaste.